All right, let's get right into it. We rely on scientific research for pretty much everything, right? From new medicines to business strategies. But what happens when that research isn't as solid as we think it is? Today, we're going to look at a brand new tool that's being called a spell checker, but for science itself.
And it really all starts with things like this. I mean, just look at this recent quote. We're seeing more and more scandals involving things like faked data or researchers who just won't share their work. These aren't just little slip-ups. They are seriously shaking our trust in science. And that has huge real-world consequences. Which, leads us to this massive question. We are swimming in information, flooded with studies and data every single day. So how are we supposed to figure out what's solid, credible research and what's, not? How do we know the foundation we're building on is actually sound?
And this all feeds into what a lot of people are calling a crisis of trust in science. Now, this isn't about doubting the scientific method as a whole. Not at all. It's about needing a much better way to verify the process, to check the homework, so to speak. And the key to fixing this really boils down to one simple idea. And that idea is methodological transparency. Honestly, the best way to think about it is showing your work in a math problem. Remember your teacher always saying that? It's not just about getting the right answer. It's about showing every single step, every decision you made to get there. That's what transparency is. It's the absolute bedrock of credible science.
So if transparency is so obviously important, why isn't every research paper a perfect open book? Well, the truth is, checking for it has been an incredibly slow, difficult, and manual job.
Just look at this number, 31. In a single quantitative study, there can be at least 31 different things a researcher needs to be transparent about. 31. That is a ton of detail for any one person, a researcher or a reviewer, to keep track of.
And it's not like those 31 items are all in one easy checklist. Nope, they're scattered across all these different stages of the research. You can see how expecting a person to manually check every single one of these points on every single paper they read, it's just a massive burden. It's not realistic. So we've got a clear problem and a manual process that's creaking at the seams. And this is where the new solution comes in. Let's meet the Research Transparency Index, or RTI for short. Now, the easiest way to get your head around the RTI is to compare it to something like a plagiarism checker. You know how Turnitin scans a paper for copied text? Well, the RTI scans a paper for missing details about the research method. It automatically flags spots where an author might need to add more information and then generates a simple report. It's a really powerful analogy. And this part is absolutely crucial. The RTI is a free, automated tool. It's not designed to be some scary gatekeeper or a gotcha machine. It's built to be a helpful assistant. The whole point is to help researchers improve their own work before it even gets submitted for review. It makes the whole process better from the very beginning. Okay, that all sounds great, but how does it actually work? What's it like to use? Let's walk through it because the process was designed to be incredibly simple. It's really just 4 easy steps. First, you download the app, and this is a big deal. It runs on your own computer, so your top secret research stays private. Then you just upload your paper as a PDF, fill out a very short disclosure form, and bam, you get an instant report. And here's a little peek at what that report looks like. It breaks everything down item by item with scores and suggestions. So it might say, hey, you got 0 points here because you forgot to mention reversed scale items, or nice, you mentioned the software, but you forgot the version number. And it also tells you what you did right. The feedback is super specific and gives you an immediate to-do list. So all those little item scores get rolled up into one overall transparency score, which falls into one of these tiers. Now, the creators are really clear that these aren't meant to be universal grades. A journal just starting to focus on transparency might think a moderate score is great, while another might require a high score. The tool gives you the data so different fields can set their own standards. So who does a tool like this actually end up helping? Well, what's really cool is its power to help literally everyone involved in the research process, from the folks writing the papers to the people using them to make decisions. For authors and students, it's a total lifesaver. It's like an automated proofreader that catches omissions before you submit, potentially saving you months of back and forth with reviewers. And if you're a student just learning how to write these kinds of papers, wow. It's like a personal tutor showing you exactly what a high-quality, transparent paper needs. Then you've got the gatekeepers, the journal editors and reviewers. These people are often overworked volunteers. For them, the RTI is a game changer. It automates that first tedious check for completeness, which frees them up to focus on what really matters, the ideas and the substance of the research. And this right here might be the most important part. Think about people outside of the lab, managers, policymakers, you name it. They might not be an expert in statistical analysis, but they can look at a paper's transparency score. It gives them a quick, reliable signal to help gauge a study's credibility before they use it to make real-world decisions that affect all of us.
So when you zoom out, the Research Transparency Index isn't really just about a piece of software. It's a key part of a much bigger movement, a movement toward building a scientific world that is more open, more reliable, and ultimately more trustworthy. So the big picture here, the main takeaway, is this. By automating the grunt work of ensuring transparency, tools like the RTI let scientists get back to doing great science. It helps create a culture where being open is the norm, and that builds trust and enhances the quality of the knowledge that our entire society depends on. And that just leaves us with one final thought to chew on. As these tools become more and more common, as we move from simple spell checkers to complex rigor checkers, what is that going to mean for the future of science itself? What does a future where we can automatically check the credibility of research mean for the way we create and share knowledge?